This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's keep it moving here. This is going to be a fun discussion for the next match. It's two of the all-time greats, Seth Rollins and John Cena. It's WWE champion versus United States champion. Here's how we got here. On the July 20th Raw, John Cena would challenge Seth Rollins for a title match, but Rollins refuses. A week later, Cena challenges him again, but the Authority instead forces him to defend the U.S. title against Rollins. Cena beats Rollins, but suffers a broken nose for real during the match. And on the August 3rd Raw, Rollins would defeat Cena to a winner-takes-all match at SummerSlam, both for the WWE title and the U.S. title. On the August 11th Tough Enough, Cena would accept Rollins' challenge, and here we are, title versus title. Before we talk about the match, I do want to bring up Seth Rollins, because it was around this time where he had a handful of matches where guys were getting hurt, whether it was Finn Balor with the power bomb into the barricade, John Cena's nose here, and Bret Hart made a pretty adamant statement that Seth Rollins was unsafe. And a lot of guys came to his defense. And we know that eventually Seth is going to wrestle Sting and do a buckle bomb, and that's going to be it for Sting. He can't finish the match, and Sting's not going to wrestle again. Sting has come out and said that Seth felt horrible about that, and even acknowledged as they're pushing him into the ambulance that Seth yelled something like, "I was you for Halloween." I mean, he was one of his favorites, so he would never intentionally hurt a guy. Do you think this is an unfair thing for fans or Bret Hart to say that Seth is dangerous? Is it just accidents happen? Or when you start to see a string of injuries like this as a professional wrestler yourself, do you start to think, oh shit, maybe there's smoke to that fire?
Gosh, never being in the ring, the only way to really tell if a guy is unsafe or if he's a victim of circumstances or if it's just, God, it's just, we've been snake bit, is to be in the ring with him. It's the only way I could actually say to you, unless it's something obvious where you're German suplexing a guy and you're dropping him right on his head. It's pretty obvious that's the wrong thing to be doing. But unless you've been in the ring with him, which I haven't, you can't say, okay, the guy's dangerous or reckless, because that's a tag you don't want to pin on a guy. Was he a victim of circumstances and some things just occurred and they all occurred in a short amount of time? Seems more probable. I know the jumping knee came right up the middle, and it was one of those things that is, I don't know if he said watch the knee or if he didn't. I don't know. I had that match, and it was like he splattered his nose pretty good. Credit to John being a tough bastard to just go ahead and finish the match. I don't think if I was a betting man that Seth, because he's too good and he's too professional, I don't think he's reckless. I think it might have been just bad luck.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't know why Seth got that rap so quickly. I mean, it does feel like if you're going to work a hard hitting physical style, and you're going to do a bunch of matches, occasionally things are going to happen. But the idea that he was reckless, I didn't get that vibe at all. And I don't think enough wrestlers came out and said anything to support that besides Bret Hart. And to your point, he was never in the ring with him either. So, Daniel Bryan puts out a new book, in this era as well. And in it, he admits publicly for the first time that his time off was not related to his neck, but it was a concussion issue. And Meltzer had heard, for whatever reason, the company wanted that kept quiet. But he would write, well, it's not a neck issue. My neck is completely fine. It's more of a concussion issue. And Bree was very hesitant about this whole thing. And that's why WWE is very protective over me too. Everyone is more aware of concussions. And that's why with WWE, I see what they're doing as far as making me go through all these hurdles. I don't see that as a negative. They're protecting me, especially in this era of concussion awareness. Arn, this is a great thing for the business, but this is totally different from when you were coming up. I mean, back in the day, guys would say things like, oh, he just got his bell rung or walk it off. I mean, even in football, they would just say, "Oh, he got the wind knocked out of him, and he'll be out of play, and he'll be right back." And I'm not saying that was wrong at the time. We just didn't know what we didn't know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful the CTE, thing popped up, and it was put everything under the spotlight where concussions were, because like you said, back in the day when territories were individually owned and you had however many around the country, but they were individually owned, you didn't have doctors in the locker room. You didn't have trainers in the locker room. You didn't have guys providing tape for you or wrapping knees or any of that. It was just the boys and the referees and the announcer, and that was it. And you were on the road together, and the boys would adjust each other like, makeshift chiropractors. They would tape each other's knees for each other, ankles, But to suddenly have, a medical staff there that was treating issues right on the spot and taking care, and if you got your bell rung, like we said, then you were off until they could determine just how bad it was. And I was glad, for one, to see the guys being taken care of and worrying about going forward after an injury.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.